recording. And we'll get started as well. I'll keep an eye on the waiting room. I know we have some people that are going to be a little bit late and some people that can't make it. But thank you very much to Beth Hoyt. She's going to grace us with her time and her wisdom on a couple of things. And then I'll share some stuff that I'll bring back from the NAR mid-years and a couple other agenda items as well. So welcome, everybody. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. And Beth?
Yep. Beth.
Welcome. What are you covering? I think you might be on mute. There you go.
Did you want me to start now?
Sure. You can go ahead and I was going to have Mike Marinucci
Right.
on.
So I was waiting for Mike.
Yeah, but I think he might be a little bit late to it. So we'll go ahead and bump you up to first place.
Ooh,
And we'll get started.
that's exciting. Oh, good to see everybody. Hi, Stephen. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about going to networking events because I'm not sure how many networking events you all actually attend, but if you're going out to different things and if you're lucky enough to have a friend who's in the Society of Engineers or invites you to some networking event where there's a lot of clients, people who are the right age to be buying or selling homes, or higher net worth individuals or first-time home buyers. You might go to a networking event. And I just wanted to go over some tips that some of the experts have for that. So first off, you want to register in advance to make sure that they're expecting you and that they have a name tag ready for you. And when you walk up to the table, it makes it so much easier to attend the event, walk in if they're already expecting you. And you want to make sure that you go. Once you register, you have to go. You have to market yourself. And it looks really bad if you don't show up, because if they print out name tags for everyone and yours is sitting on the table, they're going, well, where is that person from JPAR? Why didn't they show up? And it just doesn't give a great impression. When you go, you want to make sure that you have your name tag on high and on the right-hand side. So when you reach to shake someone's hand, they can easily see your name tag. And your name should be as big as possible so that people can see what your name is, especially your first name. And you want to reach out to people if you kind of think you know them, but you might want to introduce yourself to them anyway, or say, good to see you, I'm Beth, just because people forget names. I forget them all the time. To prepare to go to the event, you want to make sure you bring lots of business cards, and you want to have nice business cards, not something on cheap paper, not something that you printed out at your house. You want to make a nice impression with your card. And mobile cards aren't the best because people are going to collect these cards and hopefully follow up the next day. So you need to have an actual physical card that they can hold so they remember you. If you don't have any cards or you run out of cards, say, I will mail you a card tomorrow, and actually follow up and send them a card in the mail, and they'll be really impressed that you remembered to do it. You want to bring some cash with you, some small bills, because there might be a bar that you need to tip things or a coat check, something like that. So always have your business cards, your name tag, and a little bit of cash. And then this one may sound crazy, but you want to leave your phone in the car, because you're paying to be at this networking event. All of these people are here because they want to sell their businesses, but you want to appear like you're there to learn about their businesses. And if you've got your face in your phone, it makes a really bad impression, and you're not going to get everything that you could out of the networking event. Also, don't bring any brochures or anything. Nobody came there to hear about your business. They came pretty much to sell theirs or to meet people. So you want to make sure that you're always making a good impression. If you're going to an event in the morning, you want to warm up your voice before you go. You want to sing in the car, or, you know, say hello, 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 just something so that your voice is all warmed up. And then you might want to, when you get to the event, you might want to wash your hands in really hot water with lots of soap. And that should keep them clean and dry for handshakes for about 90 minutes. You also want to make sure that your teeth are clean, that you've brushed them or you've chewed gum. And you might not want to eat at the networking event because, number one, things get in your teeth. But number two, It's much easier to jungle talking and handing out business cards and doing handshakes if you don't have food in your hand. So you might want to eat before or after the event. It's a good idea to arrive early, because if you're the first or second person at the event, it's very easy to get into a conversation with someone. Whereas if you arrive a half an hour late or half an hour after the event started, people are already in their groups, and it's kind of difficult to find someone to talk to or to break into a group. You want to arrive early. And I had one, a friend of mine, he has a contracting business, and he'd go to the networking events, and we went to a lot of Chamber of Commerce events together. And he kind of just stand on the wall and just stand there. And I said to him, I said, Steve, go and act, not you, Steve, but a different Steve. I said, go and act like a host, pretend like this is your event. And he went, oh, okay. And then he went around the room and he talked to everybody, and he got to meet everybody. And it was just a totally different experience for him. So you want to act like you're a host. When you get business cards from people, you want to have a tracking system for them. So maybe all of the cards you receive go in your left pocket or your left side of your purse, and your cards are in the other side. And you might want to write some notes. So have a pen to write some notes on the cards. So if somebody says, you know, their birthday's coming up, and you just met someone who said, oh yeah, we're thinking about buying a house in this area in the next couple of months. Well, in addition to writing that on the back of their card, you're going to want to follow up with them. And maybe they said they had a birthday coming up, send them a birthday card. Just make as many notes as you can that make it personal so they'll remember you. So the bad news is 80% of the time, it takes 5 contacts with you before they'll make a decision about whether they would ever buy from you or refer anyone to you. So 48% of your competitors will never make the second contact. So if you make a second contact and you follow up with people, I went to networking in Annapolis, which is an event that Greg's been to before, and I know he receives their list of all the networking events that are in the area. I got one follow-up from a loan officer who he knows I'm not giving him business because I just met him, but it was nice that he sent me an email and said, great to meet you. Thanks for telling me that I could join the Anne Arundel County Board of Realtors, and hope our paths cross again. But that was very nice, but he wasn't really seeking business from me. But 48% of your competitors will not make the second contact. And 80% of people, 80% of sales happen after the 5th contact. So if you remember those items when you go to a networking event, then hopefully you'll have success and it will lead to some sales. And that is all I have. That's basically part 1. And I have a part 2. Greg's going to let me know if you all are interested in a part 2 at another meeting.
Awesome. Thank you, Beth. And I'll just piggyback a couple comments on that too as well. I have found that depending on the age group or demographic, I had switched to like a QR code only, and now I have some regular business cards and a QR code too, depending on who I'm giving it to. I was at a number of functions for the NAR mid-years, and it's definitely different between maybe age group or even just the person. Some people still love business cards. Other people are all about scanning your your contact information and having it upload directly to their phone. So also, when you're going to these events or any event, make sure that you have, and I always, kind of preach this, you've got in your tool set at least 5, good talking points on real estate. You want to come across if you're engaged in conversation. Obviously, you're going to be wanting to know about what the other person is, ask them what they do, or if you're whatever you're there for a particular event. But if the conversation loops back to you and real estate, you want to make sure that you have some educated talking points, where the inventory levels are right now. Is it a seller's market? Obviously, it's a seller's market. Where rates are, what's going on that's influencing rates, median days on market, what our average price per square foot is, information like that, just so that you sort of sound educated within that space. You're the local economist of choice, whatever it might be. So keep that in mind. And to Beth's point too, when you're done and you've got that list of business cards or whatever, little personalized note cards, emails are great to send out to follow up with people. But I always still am amazed whenever I get like a little personalized note card from someone, that I've met at a function or networking event. it's a nice touch, and obviously you can include your business card in that as well too, as a follow-up, but I always think that's a nice touch to set yourself apart. And the key, like Beth said, it's persistency and consistency, right? You've got to be, in order to be top of mind for any of these things, you have to show up a number of times in someone's life. So you've got to make sure that you're consistent on those touch points, emails, networking events, and make sure your social media presence is up to speed and adequate for what you do. I just went to a marketing and networking event where they were talking about make sure you understand who your audience is too when you're talking. Like if you're posting on LinkedIn, you probably have certainly a different clientele than if you're posting to Instagram or you're running reels or something to that effect. So make sure your marketing is mirroring and matching who your audience is. That's important as well. So good stuff. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Beth. And we will make sure that we have a follow-up to that, because obviously there's lots of the different lead generation models, but very few things are as fruitful as one-on-one networking opportunities. So put yourself out there, don't be a secret agent. Like she said, show up, be cognizant of how you show up in that space, and it will return dividends to you for sure. So, and on the flip side of that, if you guys want to host an event, please let us know. We'd be more than happy to help you facilitate that. Whatever we need to do, you can drill down specifically on different types of niche marketing when it comes to different events. I know Christy Corwick had a event that she was a part of for senior real estate living, but there's many different opportunities on events and hosting them. We have on our last lead generation and mastermind, we were talking about creating events, and part of this call, we'll talk about some of the upcoming events that we have at the office that you can piggyback on, but you feel, more than happy to help you guys if you want to create a Zoom event or an in-person event, whatever we can do to help bring to bear resources and people to help you out with that as well. So thank you, Beth.
All right. Thanks for having me. You all have a great evening.
All right, you too. And
Thanks.
don't keep Beth in mind if you have any title questions or anything, and thank you very much for doing that land records class. I know we had some craziness going on, but appreciate you. Thank you for that as well.
Oh, you're welcome. And let me know if you need to do it again.
Awesome.
Bye-bye, Beth.
Thank you.
All right, guys, so I'm gonna shoot over to our agenda real quick and make sure that I'm touching all our little agenda items. Try and keep an eye on the waiting room too while I'm doing that. We'll get Michael Marinucci to update us on the rates right now. Obviously, the Fed did another 25 basis point rate hike for the prime rate a couple of weeks ago, or a week and a half ago. Now, so hasn't reflected immediately in our loan rates, but still the story remains the same with low inventory and where we're at on rates, but hasn't affected the buyer pool very much. It's just sort of affected the market overall. But I'm going to play a little clip here from Lisa from Bright MLS, The Economist. Quick 2-3 minute video on where we're at from a market standpoint.
Welcome to Bright's Market. I'm Dr. Lisa Sturtevant, Bright MLS. In a typical housing market, April is one of the busiest months of the year. But this year, however, elevated mortgage rates, cooling economy generally have led
Whoop. So the big thing is we had 80 plus months of equity gains within the housing market, right? That came to an end last month. And again, she's talking about the Washington metro market really driving that lower price point or leveling off. Of course, if you have in Howard County, most parts of Anne Arundel County and outlying areas within Baltimore County, the price is still creeping up just a little bit. So all real estate is hyper local. Just be cognizant of where your market's at. But we have definitely seen sort of a flat line in pricing. So any questions about anything that she said? I mean, you guys have to know right now where we're at. Inventory levels being what they are, it's still very skittish market, I like to say. We have a strong buyer demand with the low level of inventories. We were in the Baltimore metro markets 25% off year over year for inventory. So it's just a constricted supply with, despite the higher mortgage rates, a still vibrant buyer pool. So that's where we're at with that. Now, if there's any questions on the market update, but let's go into some other talking points real quick. Legislative updates from MAR mid-year. Sure, if you guys are, I'm sure you've heard it in the news, the LLPAs, and that may not sound familiar, but loan level price adjustments, or if you've heard where some buyers are paying more with good credit as opposed to buyers with weaker credit paying in on conventional loans, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and the FHLB banks. So to give you a breakdown of how that works is you have the FHFA, the Federal Housing Finance Agency, who oversees Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and the Federal Home Loan Banks, which there's 11 of them around the country. They regulate those government-sponsored enterprises, which is Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and the 11 banks. So they're in charge of administering these fees that you get on these conventional loan products. And there's been a little bit of a misnomer that people with higher credit are paying more to offset some of the lower credit. It's somewhat true, but not quite true. You're still paying less with a good credit score than you are if you had a poor credit score for those conventional conforming loans. However, the lower credit scores did get a break, and that was part of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac's mission. Now, NAR's stance on all of those fees, those loan level price adjustments, is that we would like for them to be removed. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are running at almost 12% return on equity, which is really high number for a quasi-government institution. Most REITs only return about 9%, and utilities return about 6%. So they should be more in keeping with what a utility returns. So that those numbers, we're hoping the chairperson from Fannie Mae said that they're doing that in order to save for a rainy day. And they're probably not mad about the increasing fees with where the buyer pool is and inventory rates. So just something to keep an eye on. If any of your consumers are asking you about that, there's a lot of misinformation in the media. I'll send out this link from NAR about what those fees entail. So anyway, moving on. Also, you may have heard, and I want to keep everyone abreast of this situation for, especially from a brokerage standpoint, there's some class action lawsuits from different entities, a quasi MLS out in California against the California MLS, and some other large brokerages. There's about 5 or 6 of these congruent class action lawsuits that are going on around the country. One of them involves Bright and 4 or 5 large brokerages around the country, and it's a very substantial one. It could be upwards of a $60 billion payout if it moves forward. That won't happen for another year and a half, perhaps, but it's something to keep an eye on. And why I bring it up is it's important to kind of get your ducks in a row now. If you're working with potential buyers on your buyer agency agreement, Maryland has in there how much, a buyer would pay their agents in lieu of whatever is co-opted on the MLS. If in fact you have that compensation written into your buyer agency agreement, it's probably a good idea now in case things do change. Some of the powers to be, the pressures that are pushing this to change are CoStar, who's purchased homes.com, have Showing Time, along with Zillow. Some of these entities are pushing for a different model. It's more in line with how Australian real estate's done, where the seller pays the listing agent and the buyer pays the buyer's agent. So if in fact we do start moving that way in a year and a half, just want to make sure that you guys are having those buyer agency agreements and those conversations up front with your buyers and getting in place in practice now how that should look. It's how we've always done it, like in the buyer agency agreements, buyer to pay 2.5% or whatever deltas between what the MLS is offering and 2.5%. So it gives you the opportunity to get paid from a buyer if in fact the MLS is not co-opting 2.5% or 3% or whatever it might be. So just make sure that you're structuring those conversations and buyer agency agreements accordingly and position yourself for the long term. And as always, the best practice and the best way to control how all of that is done is to focus on listings. Listings control market share. So right now, there's probably no better time to get a listing as opposed to, if you can, working with buyers per se. It's still great to get out there and help and work with buyers, but it's going to be a much easier road to control the compensation conversations and everything else in this market if you're focused on listings. Having said that, I want to make sure everyone knows that whatever I need to do to help you with your listing presentations, if it's a matter of jumping on a conference call, Zoom call, or even attending a listing presentation with you, if that's something you want me to do, I'd be more than happy to do that. Certainly happy to have any kind of pricing conversations ahead of time, getting your marketing presentation in place. We have the white paper that we use, getting your home sold for more in the least amount of time. It's a 9-point bullet point things on things that you have to cover for the listing and knock it out of the park and make sure that you're returning your sellers the most amount of money within the least amount of time. So that white paper is available, and I'll be more than happy to sit with anyone and help them put together their marketing presentation when it comes to that. So, all right, let me pop on here and add someone in real quick. Welcome, John. Also, moving forward, Bright came out with MLS-touch. Has anyone downloaded MLS-touch to their phones? It's the app that we can share with our clients. It's kind of where they're going to replace HomeSnap between Nestfully and MLS-touch. So it's a mobile app that you can share with your clients. Has the property boundary search on it. They can search for homes, and then also a good tool for you to use as well. And
Hey, Greg. Sorry.
Yeah.
Are they going to do away with HomeSnap?
So they are. Yeah. It was
Okay.
purchased. Hold on one second. I got feedback. It was purchased by CoStar, and the agreement that they have with Bright is going away within a month or so, to answer your question.
Okay, but as far as what you're saying is MLS-touch will just basically function as HomeSnap has. I don't know how many people are home.
Yes, MLS-touch will focus for the most part like HomeSnap. And then I'll quickly share my screen with you real quick.
People, but I've been a home staff person from the beginning.
MLS-touch.
Okay, great. Thanks.
And then I'll quickly share my. Yeah, so make sure when you're downloading MLS-touch that the area you're selecting is Bright and not Maryland, because Bright covers all of Maryland and then some. So it's a little confusing when you're logging on there, but you're going to select Bright and then Bright MLS as your board. So the email again went out. I think I shared that with the office. If anybody has any questions about that or needs the login information, and whether you're using iPhone or Android device, that's available. So yeah, I've been using it already. I sent it to a number of clients. So I think it's working fairly well. Oh, what else we have here? Fair housing infographics going to be added to the listing loop. So if you're taking listings, make sure you can just share that with your sellers, have them initial that if you want, and that will certainly cover you as the fair housing protected classes change and morph throughout the state. That infographic is very easy to use and understand, and it might be a little bit easier having that conversation with that in place. So Transactions Plus, again, Christy is doing transaction coordination. If you're closing within the next month and moving forward, your clients will be added to TPMCO client follow-up program for 5 years. And also she's adding the clients in on some follow-up calendar appointments, year-end altas are getting sent out to the clients. So a lot going on with the transaction coordination as far as behind the scenes, more added value to what's being done. Bright also has a mobile MLS that is out, and we're not really sure where we're going with Showing Time, but Showing Time has a new beta app and website that they're getting ready to launch for setting up showing. So just be aware that may be changing in the next few months as well, as far as Showing Time is concerned. So Dot Loop, hopefully we're all switched over to Dot Loop now. I know the back office portion of Dot Loop is a little clunky, and we're still working through some of the issues with that. The cover sheets have been revised. There's a link in there for in the hub for Dot Loop. If you need any assistance, they have a fantastic website with Dot Loop resources, but of course they also have the Dot Loopers available, and all the support that comes from that. At the bottom of any of your loops, you can reach out to the Dot Loop support team, and they'll have a member ID number for you down there as well. So make sure you're tapping into that. This is the link, and again, I'll send out a follow-up email to this with the recording. But Dot Loop resources in the hub, a lot of fantastic resources in there. Again, how to submit your CDA in the cover sheet, and a lot of training webinars and videos in there as well. Remember, try to get your CDA requests in at least 10 days prior to settlement with the compliance team. They're going through a lot with the switchover as well. So the earlier, the better. And if you're using Christy, she's doing that for you. Up Your Game Challenge, we have JPAR will be doing, and I'm going to, in lieu of the Monday Mastermind, sending out some video clips and a link to it. We're going to be doing 20-minute segments of working within the hub and all the updated resources and tools that will be part of this Up Your Game Challenge. There'll be prizes that agents can win, but more importantly, it's really just a way to acclimate yourself to all the resources and tools within JPAR one-stop hub. So every other Monday, I believe, we're going to be doing a video segment on that and going through the Up Your Game Challenge. So stay tuned for details on that as well. And like I said, there's prizes and things that can be won within that Up Your Game Challenge within Loop. I'll be sending out the recordings too, because I know a lot of you guys can't make those Monday meetings. What else we have going on? Kind of starting next week, we're going to be doing contract training snippets. Joe, myself, Christy Phipps in the office, we're going to be sending out video snippets of different contract procedures. We're going to be going through the templates and the cover sheets. But again, if you have any questions, you can always reach me or call the office too as you're navigating through that process. Any problems that you may come up or come across within Loop, please send to Joe or myself so that we can make sure that we get those rectified and we change those within that. Anybody have any issues or experiencing any problems within Loop other than sort of the normal learning curve? Go. All right, appreciate everybody's patience with that as well.
Hey, Greg, just something. Oh, sorry. Sometimes in the search, when you're looking for a doc, you know, calling it the right name, or sometimes you just spell what you think that the doc is called and it's hard to find.
Yeah, I know. It's right, like the blank addendum.
Yeah, I know. It's right. Like the blank addendum is amendment addendum.
Right. I think even looking for conventional financing addendum, that sometimes doesn't come. I'm going to keep messing with it, but I remember you and I talked about that today.
Yeah, and then the various financing addendums live under that, whether they're the whatever Maryland Realtor Board forms that they come, or we have a contract template loop that they live under as well. But yeah, to your point, if you're having trouble finding a particular document, let me know. We also have that Google Drive folder, the master folder that you can share, and then you can upload anything in. But all the forms should be in Loop, and it's always easier to fill out the form sets if they're already in Loop. So if there's a particular form that you're having trouble finding, let me know. I can help you. And if we see a problem and we need to rename it within Loop, I believe we have that ability. So if there's something in particular that just doesn't have the right nomenclature or name attached to it, let me know and we'll see if we can't get it changed within the form sets and templates.
I have one quick question too. Is there
Yeah.
any way when you do go to search for a form, that small box comes up? Is there any way to enlarge that box that you have to then scroll through the forms?
Let me.
That would be my only suggestion. I don't know if it's just because I'm old, but I feel like if you could enlarge that box to almost go full screen or at least half screen, it would be easier to then scroll through the documents to find what you're looking for.
Yeah, let me pull it up and see what you're talking about real quick so I know exactly. Can you see my screen, Christy?
I can.
I sure can.
Okay. Let me pull one up. Let me pull one of mine up. Are you saying right here?
Yeah, when you go to actually put in the name of something that you're trying to search or you're going into those individual folders, I just feel like that screen, that box is super small. So you have to scroll a lot.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I will bring that to the attention of, well, Loop and Daniel at JPAR and see if I can't figure that out. Okay. I will put that on our wish list.
Awesome. Thanks. It was just a wish list item.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, so keep in mind, we'll be sending out those video snippets because I know it's hard to get everyone in one place at one time. But if you have any contract questions, feel free to reach out to myself, Joe, and Christy when they're in the office, as well as Sonia. She's willing to answer any questions. Or if you have just a general question that doesn't need answered right away, Facebook group or might be a good place to ask it as well. Couple other things coming back on the, obviously we can't control what's going on policy wise, but we have the debt ceiling limit thing looming a little bit. That's going to affect some things within the market. So we'll keep an eye on that. The big thing for me keeping an eye on is these class action lawsuits and the changes that are coming out with Bright with regards to Nestfully, MLS-touch. Nestfully is going to be the forward-facing consumer website. So if you guys should have been getting emails from Bright about that. Any of our listings will be populated in Nestfully. If you have a listing and a consumer goes to Nestfully and they enter in their information, that lead will come back to you as the listing agent. There'll be a buyer portal within Nestfully that Bright eventually hopes to expand for a lot of their internal services and a platform for buyers to kind of house a lot of different information and resources, vendors, and that kind of thing as well. So MLS-touch, Nestfully, two big products coming out from Bright to maybe transition away from HomeSnap. So that's what those are there for, and that's why you're probably getting inundated with emails from Bright about those couple of things. Big thing coming out of tech-wise, coming out of the NAR mid-years outside of the legislation. It was obviously very legislative heavy, and the bills that are trying to get passed to help with inventory, ancillary dwelling units across the country, and different variants in zoning so that we can convert commercial space to residential, really to answer our inventory solution. But the other big thing was artificial intelligence, how it's transforming and changing a lot within not only our industry, but various other industries, from customer service to law, healthcare, a bunch of other things. But a lot of the marketing coming out, NAR is also keeping an eye on copyright infringements and laws when it comes to some of the stuff being utilized within AI. So we are watching that too. If you have any questions on utilizing ChatGPT or OpenAI.com, let me know. Kind of a big fan of it. What else do we have? We got the market update from Lisa. Again, we're looking at lower inventories. We want to be super and hyper focused on our listing presentations. I don't think, let me take a peek here and see who's on. I don't think Angela Tonelli is a new agent. I was going to introduce her. I think she was on our last sales call, but Angela is a new agent with our office, who's also an attorney, an associate broker, and works within like HOA and condo space quite a bit. We were having a lot of discussions on the HOA laws and rules and regulations that govern homeowners associations. So she's a good asset for the brokerage as well, now that she is on board. And as a side note, legislatively within Maryland on the Public Policy Committee, we're introducing legislation next year to clean up the HOA and condo laws and rules, especially regarding real estate in our practice, so that it's all uniform. There won't be the 7-day, 15-day for condo, 5-day, 20-day for HOAs, and everything hopefully will get cleaned up and made a bit more uniform with that. So again, keep our eyes out for the Up Your Game Challenge. I'll be sending out videos. That's going to be happening every other Monday with live recorded videos going through JPAR Hub. KV Course had some updates to it as far as property boosts and things that you can do marketing wise within that. We have the tech consultant gurus. Lots of changes with that loop within the hub. but also just making sure that you guys have access to the different rooms and different resources within there. And there'll be videos that you can circle back and watch at your leisure, 25-minute videos, so not too time consuming. I know that a couple of our listings were out there. The NDG home team got their listing in Odenton under contract, I believe. So kudos to you, Jennifer, and everyone on the team for that. Christian had a new listing in Cape Arthur, so hopefully that's going well, Christian, and a settlement recently. And Christy had a bunch of settlements, so good job to you guys. April was a little bit slower the year over year for us. Our first quarter was a little bit better year over year. April slowed down, but I think that is across the industry and market. We saw a slowdown for April, so don't be discouraged. Again, focus on getting out there, like Beth was talking about. Networking events are fantastic. If you guys want to do anything, let us know. Pop over real quick and one last time share my screen on what we have coming up. And I don't want to put you on the spot, Christy, but do you have any updates on your couple yet? Not yet?
You absolutely put me on the spot.
No worries.
I apologize for the background noise, and I'm not gonna lie, I am still logged in, but I wanted to let everybody know that the diaper drive that we are doing is actually extended through the end of the month. And then I wanted to put it out to all of our agents that if they would like me to update the Canva marketing, and I can send that out to you, Greg, and have their contact information put out, so it looks like they're putting out their marketing saying that we're doing the diaper drive and that they're part of it.
Awesome.
I'm happy to do that and to put their personal contact information. We're going to use the office at JPAR as a collection point, and that's going through the blood drive and a durable medical equipment drive in the works that I'll be doing more on in the coming months.
Cool beans. Yeah, for sure. We will definitely share that the diaper drive information. Yeah, you and I get together and I'll get with any agent that wants that information. We are planning Orioles Day at the Park. Tentative date June 15th. I know I need to tie down the details on that, but I will be getting that out to everyone, if not by the end of this week, definitely by the first part of next week. We'll have an agent happy hour scheduled for probably sometime end of June. Christy touched a little bit on the medical equipment drive coming up in July. We'll have a shredded event scheduled for September, a mobile blood drive for October, our annual Stuff a Bus in November, and Friendsgiving in November, and December holiday party. So that's kind of what's on tap for the rest of the year on events. And again, if you guys are doing any investor seminars, first-time homebuyer seminars, anything that I can do to help facilitate, bring to bear any resources, vendor partners, please do let me know. And if there's anything, anyone has any questions regarding any legislation or any talking points that are out there in the media, you want to circle back around with me, sort of one off, I'll be more than happy to talk to you. I spent 3 days getting updated on all the legislative in and outs at the NARD mid-year. So I'll be more than happy to share my pain, or I mean that information with you that I suffered through for the last 3 days. So any questions? Anybody have anything going on? Any big wins?
Hey, Greg, I just wanted to know are we planning to do I didn't hear you say anything about like a trunk or treat again for October time frame.
Oh, you know what? I don't have that on there. That might have slipped through my
I
thing.
don't remember us talking about that.
We'll make sure that I add it to the blood drive in October where we have that in conjunction with that, or I will make sure that gets on the list. Anything else? Anybody have any new buyer clients, any new listings, anything exciting coming up with regards to that? I have a couple new buyers. I know this is a long shot, but I have a buyer in the $300,000 range for Anne Arundel County, obviously townhouse. But if you see of anything that comes up pre-market, let me know.
Hey, Greg, it's John. I may
Yeah.
have a similar situation. So
Okay.
I do not know when I'm going to sit down with them. But
Yeah,
they're
I don't think we brought it up. Sounds good.
they're the ones I talked to you about a couple months ago. They're some friends of mine.
Okay. Yeah, if anybody has any like buyer needs out there that they want to share with me, I can shoot out to the office. Yeah, please do let me know. I know we're seeing more and more sort of off-market or pre-market deals happen. So yeah, if there's something that we can help facilitate and get in front of, I'd be more than happy to do that for sure. But yeah, John, let me know anything I can do to help.
I know I posted that. Miss Shannon, hi everybody. ACDF
Shannon.
did increase their income limits, and they increased the fact that they're giving out $50,000 towards first-time home buyers for Anne Arundel County.
Yes.
So if that's something, because they increased the income limit, they really increased it to a much higher amount. Like as a one person income limit went from $36,000 to now $78,000. So that's amazing, and they increased the assistance by $10,000. They're a little hard to work with, but you have to have a lender that communicates. But they really do bring the check to the people.
Awesome. Yeah, if you want to get out in front of anybody, if you guys on the team want to do anything, let me know if we want to put together a webinar on that, because I did see that and that was much needed and well overdue. I know there's some different loan and grant programs that are having the income limits raised this year, which is we certainly need in a bad way. Thank you for sharing that, Shannon. Also, next month we'll have the DMV sales meeting. We do have a couple gentlemen from California will be opening up a Columbia JPAR office, so we're excited to make that announcement. We'll be making that announcement next month, but stay tuned for details on that. We'll have Laura O'Connor, the COO from JPAR, in town, and hopefully we'll be doing an event around that, and that'll be something that we can share with agents as well. So stay tuned for details happening next month on that too, and I'll update that. I'll send out an updated events calendar once we drill down on some of those details. I know Peg from NDG will be happy that we're doing a night at the ballpark. She's a super Orioles fan, based on what I can tell. So any questions or anything else anybody would like to add or share? All right, stay tuned.
It's
Thank you,
Kelly.
guys. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, I just wanted to say I have a contract coming in tomorrow on that piece of land in Annapolis that has been on the market for a year.
No way.
Yes way. And she accepted it. Life is good.
What? That might be one of the biggest wins ever in real
I
estate.
know.
Congratulations, Kelly. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
That's great. Good stuff. I'm sure you're happy about that.
I am.
Very cool. But yeah, if anyone has any needs, I mean it. I totally mean it. Like if you need any help with any listing presentations, marketing presentations, marketing, I'm more than happy to avail myself. If my calendar allows it, I will, like I said, jump on a phone call, Zoom call with your clients, go on an appointment with you, whatever we can do to help secure any listings in this market. Obviously, inventory is king. So whatever I can do to help. So, all right. If nothing further, I will let you guys go. Again, I will be sending out a follow-up email tomorrow with the recording, but there'll be links to all the things we talked about in there as well. So, you guys have any questions, give me a shout at the office, 410-260-0202. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Have a great night.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey, and Greg, I'll show you the text from when I was spamming your
Yes.
bakery.
I meant to. I should have
Oh,
brought that up.
I went all in. I ran up to Safeway, got a bunch of Apple gift cards that he wanted, and
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that happens at like 2 to 3 times a year. It's so
yeah,
frustrating.
it was
but
like, it's like the third time I've had something like that from you. So
I know.
it yeah, it was a nice distraction. I enjoy doing things like that.
I appreciate you trolling them, the spammers.
Actually, I'll
Yeah.
share little details too about it. I think that person might have might be somebody that somebody knows. Because there's a Maryland connection with the phone number and the person.
Yeah, let me know for sure.
So I'll bring the cyber stalking I did.
Awesome. Appreciate you, John.
All right, man.
All right, take care.